The Secret Garden, Part 5. Now today we're actually not in the secret gardens because we've seen those. We've just got 2 more gardens to look at, and those are at the back of our house. So not a lot to see today, but we'll try and focus on some interesting things. This is rather interesting, I think. These parrot tulips. That bizarre colouring on them is caused, believe it or not, by a virus. There's quite a few of them here. I'll have a look at another one. There. That's a virus that causes that colouring to be so bizarre on them. Now we're walking down the herbaceous border, which will be at its peak in July, bordered of course by the roses as always. Roses growing over the roof here. At the moment what we've got is mostly the geums, nice bright geums bordering the path here. They do a good job, nice colour in May, and later on they stop the taller flowers flopping over the path. You don't see herbaceous borders much nowadays, but you don't see flower borders much. That's a shame really, but I suppose it's a bit of an old-fashioned look now. We'll have a look across here. We'll have a look at the house. Here's our house. It's a shame you can't see the detail on that stone up there, that plaque stone. It says 1681, that's when the house was built, and from the deeds it tells us that it was a penny a month rent in those days. The barge boards are very elegant, and it's a shame you can't see the detail on those because they're oak and cedar. They've got lovely carvings on them, beautiful mouldings, dental mouldings around the edges too. Yeah, very impressive are the barge boards. The house we've lived in since 1974. We bought it for £6,000. It's taken a lot to renovate it all. It's taken many years, but it's been good fun, ripping out fireplaces and discovering ancient ingle nooks behind. This is an extension that I put on about 15 years ago. As you can see, it's built into a bank. It's probably about 5 foot down into the bank there. It was a lot of digging out to do that, and no sooner it had been dug out than it rained, endless rain, and all the sides started to cave in. Next door's garden caved in, dropped in as well, so it was an absolute nightmare. But fortunately we got it finished in the end. I'll just show you these 2 pictures inside this porch. Just might be interested. I don't think you'll like them, you probably won't like them, but I'll show them you anyway. We'll go into the porch here, and I'll show you this first picture here. Now this picture is called Woman in the Morning Sun. It was painted in 1818 by David Caspar Friedrich, a German painter, and the original of this painting hangs in the palace at St. Petersburg. It was bought by Nicholas I, so he obviously liked it. I like it too. I like the colour in it, and I think it's sort of religious. She seems to be praising the sunrise there, so I like the sentiment and I like the colour in it. But my wife thinks it's absolutely horrendous. She says, "Peter, that picture is horrendous." That's why it's been banished to the porch actually. This one here, this is by John Waterhouse. It was painted in 1900. John Waterhouse was one of the late pre-Raphaelites, and he's painted it in the Pre-Raphaelite style there. What you're looking at, actually, that circle is a mirror. You can see her reflection in the mirror slightly there. And what it's depicting, although it's in a Pre-Raphaelite style, is soldiers sailing across to South Africa to fight in the Boer War. Of course, remember it's 1900, so that was when the Boer War was on. She's drinking a toast to the departed soldiers. And what I like about it is the colouring it, and also that very thoughtful look in her face. I don't know how you managed to paint a thoughtful look in her face, but he's managed it there perfectly. I think it's a superb painting. It's been banished to the porch because my wife, although she quite likes it, thinks it's a bit too old-fashioned. I wonder what you think to that picture. Now, let's head off outside now and have a look at what we've got left over here. We'll head up onto this lawn here, and across the lawn we've got an arbour with a seat underneath it, 2 rambling roses over the top, Hiawatha and Evangeline. I love roses, but rose beds I'm not so keen on. I think the overall effect is a bit spotty. So I like to see roses mixed with other flowers, really. Across here, the seat overlooks this view of Haworth Moors. I don't know how well you can see it over there, but I remember long ago, when I lived for a while in the East End of London, getting a book out of the library. It was called The Deserts of England, and one of those deserts was Haworth Moors. And I remember one line in the book that said, when you're standing on the moors above Haworth, it appears as if they roll on forever. When you're in a mouse-infested bedsit in East Ham, that sounded absolutely wonderful. And here we are now, looking across at that desert. Getting back to the garden, each flower struts its hour upon the stage, and when all their strutting is over, then, which is probably middle of August, late August time, and you're thinking, well, nothing else now till the snow drops, that's when this border here comes into its own, because in this border behind the box hedge is Michaelmas daisies, all named varieties, and from August till well into October this is a blaze of pastel colours, blues, pinks, purples, and in those autumn days that's a lovely show, and it carries on the colour in the garden until almost November time. Right, here's the aviary where the canaries sing, and then we go up, nice Acer there by the way, we go up finally up this little path to the last garden. This one, a small garden that I've redesigned this winter. You go up this box edged path to a little seat underneath an arbour here. It's well used, this seat, because although it's in a sunny spot, the roof shades you from the sun, and you can sit and read in the shade. Yeah, I designed this border again in the winter. I wasn't very happy with it, but now I've planted 5 Bonica roses, which are the world's favourite rose, Bonica, a lovely pink shrub rose, and in front of it the plant that's been voted the best new plant in the last 100 years, that's Geranium Roseanne, a lovely blue flower that's sterile, so it keeps producing flowers but can't produce any seed, so it continues flowering from June until October. It'll cover all this ground here, and growing up through it are regal lilies, the white regal lilies, lovely scent. It'll fill this little garden with scent. It's good sitting down on winter days with a piece of paper and designing another garden. That's where all the pleasure is, isn't it? Doing creative things, designing a garden, renovating an old cottage, doing the pargeting boards, doing dry stone walling. Anything that's creative brings a lot of pleasure, and making this garden and doing this old house has brought us a lot of pleasure. The field that we bought cost £500. I could have sold it for building land and made some money, but that wasn't what I wanted. I just wanted the land so I could make some secret gardens, a whole batch of secret gardens hidden behind a big high dry stone wall, and that's what I managed to do in the end. Perhaps in July we should come back and have a look at it when it's all in flower, and you'll see all the colour that fills this garden. But until then, that's it.